on the 49th. This is a beginner's guide to gardening before the last frost, but even if you're a seasoned veteran, you might see some things you've never seen before. So join us in our garden. So far, we've planted our garlic, potatoes, Jerusalem artichokes, beets, carrots. We've got corn seeds in the ground, we've got bean seeds in the ground, the peas are up, the onions are up, doing a bunch of prep. Now let's take a look at how we did it. Most people plant their garlic in the fall. That is the ideal time, excuse me, to plant it. But we have voles here, and we've had them eat our entire crop over the winter months and had nothing come up in the spring. So we've tried different things. We used to have raised beds with metal on the bottom of them to keep the voles out, and that worked really well. But for the scale that we want to plant, it's not a very good use of the space. So this year we ripped the whole garden area up and we're starting fresh. And what we do now is plant our garlic as early in the spring as possible. As soon as we can work the ground, we get it in, and we've never had any problem. It still finishes really well. Some people change out their garlic stalk every year or every few years. We've never done that. We've never had any problems. Our garlic is massive. I think this is called purple Russian garlic. If you are very, very new to gardening, this is the bottom. This is where the roots come out. This is the top. This is where it's going to shoot out. This is a clove from a bulb. We've pulled it all apart. We've picked out the better ones, made sure they're in good shape. The I don't know what you call this, the paper casing around it is not closed up. It's ideal if it is all closed up and tight little unit, but I've planted garlic like this before and it sprouted and it did beautifully, so I'm not worried about it. So do you think this is an onion or a garlic? Because it's actually garlic. It came up last year, it grew super big and was in our garlic patch, and we thought, that kind of looks like an onion, and you cut into it and it is garlic. I can tell you that. So what we're gonna do, a bit of an experiment, this has never happened to me before. If anyone has any idea why our garlic created a onion-like bulb, please let me know. We're gonna plant it and see what happens. Maybe we'll get, I don't know, baseball-sized garlic? How cool would that be? These are our seed potatoes. These ones, the littler ones, are ours from last year that started to sprout, and so because they're not super great for eating, we put them under the light so that they wouldn't keep reaching for the light.
out of their little eyes, these are called here, and this is where the potato plant grows out of, and all of the little shoots off the side are where the potatoes grow out of. So what we're going to do is put these in the ground, and as they come up, these little eyes will grow, and we'll continue to bury them so that the potatoes have dirt to grow into. When you're preparing your seed potatoes, you want to look for these nice big ones, and you can cut them. So as long as the potato you're putting in the ground has 3 eyes, it should do just fine. So what we're going to do with these bigger potatoes that we have over here, we've bought seed potatoes as well, we're going to cut most of these so that we can optimize the potatoes we get, the yield we get from these potatoes.
You want to start your potato row by digging down, get all the extra soil you can out of the way and into a pile beside where you're going to put the potato, and then as it grows up you slowly start to put dirt over top of it. So
So what you up to here, eh?
I'm just planting some onions, doing a double row of onion sets. Pretty much left about a hose width between the rows so that it'll be easy to weed. The onions really like to be weeded.
early season things you'll want to do in your garden is go through your berry area. Now's the time to do any pruning of your raspberries, and if you're like me and you have some strawberries that you'd like to move and transplant, this is the best time of year to do that. So what happens with the strawberries is that every year they'll have a base plant, a mother plant, and then they send out these shoots, and at the end of the shoot they start a new plant. And so what I like to do when I'm starting a new bed is take all of those little shoots and put them over in the ground where I want them to be. You want to replace your strawberries or move your strawberries every 3 to 5 years. So I'm doing this kind of preemptively so that I have a new bed started and going really well by the time my other bed, which is I think in its 3rd season now, it's going to stop producing as well. And so I'm kind of doing a bit of a rotation of beds and moving them around. So this is a chive plant that we're transplanting out of our raised bed. It is pretty root bound actually. There's this lot of roots here. So when you're transplanting something, you can rough up the roots a little bit and it helps activate them to grow down further, that there might now be room for the plant to grow that way. So don't worry too much about being rough with the bottom of the roots on a plant that is root bound. we're transplanting the tomatoes that we started about a month ago. They're ready for bigger pots, and we're going to start some other things like broccoli, put some spinach in the garden. So these are starting to get really tall and kind of gangly. So to help give them lots of root structure, we're going to transplant them now. And you can actually bury tomato plants really deep. These little hairs here will turn into roots. So they're gonna look a lot smaller when we get them in the new pots, but everything that you don't see will just be good, healthy root structure. We're gonna keep them in the shade while we do this, not in the direct sun, because they will get transplant shock and it's kind of hard on them. And
okay, so I got everybody back in the house here under the light. It's normal to get some transplant shock, so I didn't want to leave them out in the wind and in the direct sunlight, but they're not used to either of those things. They're gonna have a hard enough time adjusting to this new pot. So I'm also not watering them with the garden hose. I'm going to use some lukewarm water from the kitchen sink and just really baby them.
thanks for watching our video, Gardening Before the Last Frost. Hopefully you learned something. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you think we're crazy, but you should subscribe.